Hey, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. You're watching FunkShop TV. It's another podcast episode, and this was not planned. Anthony and I just decided that we wanted to go live because we have a few things we want to get off our chest. So I'm Biggs. This is FunkShop TV. You're watching it right here on Twitch. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you click right there, the little heart right there, and follow us if you haven't done so already. If you have Amazon Prime, make sure that you subscribe to us because that will help us keep our ball rolling a little bit. You can also scroll down our page and there's a donation link. Follow us on Twitter. There's a link to follow us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. There's a link for that. So go ahead and make sure that you are following and paying attention to FunkShop TV because we're going to do our best to kind of bring a little bit of truth to the world and as well as talk about current events and try to keep you informed on what's going on. So, excuse me if I get a little tongue-twisted, impromptu, last-minute decision to go live and talk about some shit. So,
hello, Spartan Killer.
Spartan Killer, what up, man? Anthony's here. He's running the controls. What up, Anthony?
Not much. Just almost went to Seattle. Didn't end up happening.
Didn't end up happening. Why?
So I had a doctor's appointment up in Seattle today, and so I go to the parking garage. That took forever. Then I finally get in, and I'm 2 minutes late. 2 minutes late for check-in. And then so they move my appointment up, or they move my flight up to the next one, and then that's delayed an additional hour and a half. My appointment's at 1:30. This flight was supposed to be originally at 10:30, then they moved it to 1-ish. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to cancel it, because there's no way I'm going to make it to my 1:30 doctor's appointment in Seattle by that time. I should have just drove.
So you were going to fly out of PDX to Seattle to see Tech?
I was, yes. I don't know why. My dad just kind of decided, hey, you should fly. I'm like, okay.
For a doctor's appointment?
Yes.
Because there's a doctor up there that...
There's much more efficient specialists there.
Okay. Oh, where at? At UW?
I was going to Swedish Spine, and It's like a specialist.
Got it.
And they have more revolutionary stuff.
Got it. Well, shitty that you didn't get to make your flight, but now you get to sit here and get mad and...
Yeah, I get to yell at nobody.
Talk about some shit.
Oh, I get to yell at you, Spartan. I'm yelling at you.
Spartan's a good dude, man.
I like him. He's here.
We follow each other on Twitch a lot. Shout out for getting your affiliate. Glad you made it. That's dope. I made it personally this week, too.
Nice.
So, now we're just a bunch of affiliates. You got to get there.
Yeah.
Not that you're...
Maybe.
Care.
That seems like a lot of work.
So... In recent news, I'm sure everybody's heard of Molly Tibbetts. If you haven't, she was a college student that was killed by an immigrant. It's been blown up that on social media, at least around here, I don't know about your neck of the woods, but a lot of people on social media around here are using that as a platform to say this is why we need a wall, this is why we need stronger border policies. So we're just going to go over some facts. Because I'm really irritated. Let me see that last page. Before we get into that, I want to go over no, that's not the right one. Do I have it? Oakland. That's it?
Yeah.
So Molly Tibbetts is all over the news, every single news media outlet. But I'm going to read a news article that's not so well known. According to reports from multiple outlets, 18-year-old Nia Wilson was killed by white supremacists while on her way home in Oakland on July 22nd. A Teen Vogue's Taylor Crumpton surmises the brutal attack on Wilson may be connected to an increase in white nationalist activity in the area. Wilson's sister Latifah was also attacked and had to be rushed to a nearby hospital to receive treatment for her injuries. 27-year-old John Lee Cowell was later arrested and charged with a first-degree murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and theft. According to the East Bay Times, Cowell had a long history of arrest and restraining orders. I think he would absolutely kill somebody if he had something against someone, Cowell's neighbor Carol Kincaid told the publication. On July 23rd, two social justice organizations in Oakland, Anti-Police Terror Project and Community Ready Corps, hosted a vigil for Wilson at the MacArthur BART station where she was attacked and killed. The vigil turned into a march towards the bar Make Westing, rumored to be the location where a local white nationalist organization, the Proud Boys, were meeting. Kenzie Smith, who achieved some level of national notoriety after being subjected to harassment by the police because he dared to be black and barbecuing when Barbecue Becky called the cops on him, described the loss of Nia Wilson as a hard loss for us as a community, especially as a young woman of color being slain on a BART. Smith was also critical of the way BART was handling their investigation of the incident and said BART was trying to hide something to cover up something, and we're going to get to the bottom of that as well. No images of Cowell were made available by the police until the afternoon of July 23rd, and he was caught due to tips provided by Oakland community members. Ashley Yates, an Oakland-based organizer, described the community trauma, telling Teen Vogue, "It's indescribable. I mean, I've been talking to a black woman all day, basically. Terrified for our mothers, our grandmothers, ourselves personally. An attack like this is so clearly driven by racial hatred, right? But also just unexpected and out of nowhere." Of course, the police are hesitant to call this killing racially motivated, as BART Police Chief Carlos Rojas stated during a press conference. Up to this point, we do not have any information that suggests it's race motivated, but we can't discount that at this time, Rojas said. That is currently still under investigation. So, while the whole country and half the world is talking about Molly Tibbetts, who was killed by somebody that happened to be an immigrant in this country, we have a woman that was killed by a white supremacist that belonged to an organization called Proud Boys in Oakland, California, and this is very possibly the first time you've heard about it. That disgusts me. We have a certain faction of this country that wants to paint immigrants as criminals, but sweep real criminals under the rug. That disgusts me. We have a few more news articles that we're going to read, but I need to take a minute just to collect my thoughts because I'm disgusted. It's horrid, absolutely horrid. Why aren't these people that are so worried about immigration worried about segregation? Why aren't these people that are worried about immigration caring about racial injustice in this country? It is 2018. There's factions of this country that are trying to suppress votes based on people's color of skin. And we're going back to a judgmental era in this country that made our country very, very ugly. And largely in part to our current administration, a lot of people seem to be turning the other cheek. White nationalism is growing and spreading. Organizations like Proud Boys, who hide behind a biblical moniker, feel empowered, and it's horrid. Here in Vancouver, there were a couple Proud Boys that decided to jump a black man in the parking lot of the local mall because they had a Trump flag on their truck, and the guy yelled, "Fuck Trump." So they jumped out of their truck and they beat his ass.
Oh, and then he got arrested, right?
And then he got arrested. I don't know if he had a warrant, whatever. But apparently freedom of speech is no longer a thing if the Proud Boys are around and they don't like what you have to say. So Proud Boys, fuck you.
Sacks of shit.
Anthony, go ahead. Take over for a minute. I need to breathe.
Yeah. That story was infuriating. And obviously I'm not super white myself. I mean, on the outside. So, yeah, it sucks. Like, just thinking about that could literally happen to me at any point. Especially here when there's such a high Proud Boy, like, membership amount here, where it's scary, and I can name a few off the top of my head.
You know, I don't think it's as high as other major metropolitan areas with Proud Boys. I think it's just in our local media we see it a lot more because they're a lot more outspoken, and their ringleader is also trying to get a seat in the Senate.
I'm pretty sure he already failed at that.
He failed. The scary part is, did you see the number of votes he got?
It wasn't actually that many, but it was
almost
still more
30,000.
than he should have.
Almost 30,000 in a primary.
Yeah. Well,
What if he would have gotten in the top two?
I only
How many would he get?
I only saw the initial vote though, like the first one, like after I saw that McDevitt was not.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh well.
Almost 30,000.
That's still that's disgusting.
That means almost 30,000 people in this state
support his
thought that
racist bullshit.
he should have been representing us in the Senate.
Although there's a lot of people in the state, but that's still scary.
Right. I mean, that is a small faction of the population.
Hi, the old mom. Who are you?
It's probably my mom. Did she figure out how to change her Twitch name?
Oh, I don't know.
I know my mom and dad were both talking. We talked about it at dinner last night. My mom's birthday was yesterday, so we had a birthday. Happy 70th birthday.
If this is your mom, happy birthday, your mom.
Yeah. So we talked about making sure that they could both have their own Twitch so we wouldn't get so confused. I got to get Dad a network card because he has a computer in his office, but he doesn't. It's not.
Oh, it doesn't have Wi-Fi?
Doesn't have Wi-Fi, so.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, it's Mom. She said I did figure it out. Hi, Mom. Thanks for watching. Happy birthday again. So until our media decides to stop covering just what they think people want to hear, or stop following Trump, because part of the reason they're over publicizing the Molly Tibbetts case is because Trump keeps talking about it. He keeps bringing up the immigrant that killed the college student. But the media, it's the media's job to bring up the other cases. So the media should be the ones bringing up the white supremacist that killed a woman in Oakland. Because she's black and because she is assumed to be from a lower class neighborhood, is that why they're ignoring it? Who knows? And it's hard not to point fingers, but here on FunkShop TV, we're just going to speak our mind, and sometimes it's going to come across as a conspiracy theory, but I'm going to do it anyways.
I feel that it's the reason that it's being not portrayed as much as the Molly Tibbetts case is because the Molly Tibbetts case has something to do with something that's already a national debate, per se, with the whole immigration thing, which I feel the treatment of all people is obviously should be an issue as well. But at the same time, I got lower.
I'm watching my phone, and I see Wilson from Home Improvement.
I just need a hat. So he, or I believe that the reason that they don't have more attention on it is because the other has more national implications and every other station is running a story on it, so they have to all compete with that same story, which is stupid. But I wish the other one got just as much attention as this is getting, honestly.
They should. They absolutely should. But again, like I said, because Trump's gonna glorify something in every speech he does, this is what's gonna be the focus.
Yep.
So I'm gonna read the next one. It is regarding Molly Tibbetts, but it's got some very interesting points that need to be pointed out. The arrest of a reported undocumented immigrant and the murder of 20-year-old Iowa college student has reignited a debate over the dangers, real and perceived, posed by illegal immigration. During a Wednesday morning discussion about the case on Fox and Friends, a favorite of President Donald Trump, commentator Tommy Lauren,
Tommy Lauren,
Tommy Lauren,
that crazy
Tommy
blonde
Lauren
chick.
Yeah, Fox and Friends. I don't watch Fox and Friends, so
That's that crazy blonde chick who's always on social media. She's like kind of hot, but she's totally insane.
so she's only good with mom's watching. The dumb crazy bitch from Fox and Friends summed up what many conservatives have been arguing since government officials reported that the man charged with killing Molly Tibbetts had entered the country illegally from his native Mexico. On Wednesday, the suspect's attorney filed court documents declaring his client is here legally, reported the Des Moines Register. Illegal immigration kills Americans, Laren said. It's Molly Tibbetts today, and it could be your daughter, your sister, your friend tomorrow. Missing from that discussion was any proof that immigrants are more likely to commit crimes or acts of terrorism than native-born Americans. Immigration experts, including academic researchers, have said that it's because all available national crime statistics show immigrants commit fewer crimes, not more, than those born in the U.S. Even opponents of increased immigration lack evidence linking immigration to higher crime rates. There's 100 years of data from all different sources that all point to the same direction, said Walter Ewing, senior researcher at the American Immigration Council, which advocates on behalf of immigrants. If you don't believe one study, there's 10 more behind it that say the same thing. Ewing and others acknowledge that assessing the criminal activity of immigrants has always been difficult because statistics are hard to come by. Local police do not list the immigration status of those arrested, meaning it's impossible to determine exactly how many crimes are committed by legal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, and native-born citizens. Immigration researchers have spent decades trying to work around the problem. One method uses prison data to determine the immigration status of convicted criminals. Those who are foreign-born make up more than 13% of the U.S. population, but the Department of Justice released a report on January that found only 5.6% of inmates in federal, state, and local prisons are foreign-born. So, those who are foreign-born make up more than 13% of our U.S. population, but only 5.6% of the jailed population are foreign-born. And that includes federal, state, and local prisons. Clearly, the numbers don't equal up to the population versus the incarceration.
What that means is that immigrants are statistically less likely to commit a crime than American-born citizens.
Right. Spartan Killer, absolutely right. It is sad what the world has come to nowadays. It's sad what we're being shown and what media is showing us. It's sad what we're dealing with on social media. People see a meme, they believe it, they share it without doing any research behind it to find out if it's true or not. And that's part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing. To do some research behind a lot of these memes and a lot of these stories. The Libertarian Cato Institute used similar data when it concluded that the incarceration rate for native-born Americans is 1.53% compared to 0.85% for undocumented immigrants and 0.47% for legal immigrants. When Cato subtracted people in prison solely for immigration violations, the incarceration rate for undocumented immigrants fell to 0.5%. Ewing used another approach to look at national immigration trends. From 1990 to 2013, both legal and undocumented immigrants came pouring into the U.S. The percentage of the U.S. population that is foreign-born increased from 7.1% to 13.1%. Yet over that time, violent crime rates plummeted 48% across the country. In 2014, a team of university professors took a different approach. They examined crime habits of juveniles convicted of felonies in Arizona and Pennsylvania. Their study found that native-born juveniles were more likely to become repeat offenders than immigrant juveniles. Department of Homeland Security statistics offer another way to look at the question. Nearly 800,000 undocumented immigrants brought in the country as children have received deportation protections under the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, program, which Trump is in the process of ending. DACA enrollees are required to maintain a clean criminal record to remain in the program. In the 6 years since the program started, only 2,127 DACA enrollees, 0.27%, have been removed from the program after committing crimes or being identified as gang members, according to the data from Homeland Security. Jessica Vaughn of the Center for Immigration Studies, a group that has advised White House on ways to limit legal and illegal immigration, said each of these approaches contains significant flaws. For example, she said the number of immigrants in the U.S. jails and prisons may be low because some criminal immigrants get deported and others are released into the community by sanctuary cities. Vaughn's team has researched the question of immigrant criminality for years and concluded it's impossible to determine whether immigrants commit crimes at higher rates than native-born. Vaughn said the answers don't even matter. Kate Steinley's parents, I apologize if I slaughtered your name, I'm sure don't care one bit whether the crime rate in San Francisco is higher or lower than anywhere else, she said, referring to the 32-year-old who was shot and killed by an undocumented immigrant in 2015. The issue is not crime rates. The issue is what we do with the small fraction of immigrants that is committing crimes and causing problems. Trump repeatedly mentioned Steinley's death on a campaign trail. During his State of the Union address in January, he introduced the parents of 2 teen girls killed by undocumented immigrants allegedly belonging to the MS-13 gang, an international gang formed in Los Angeles and mostly made up of Salvadorian immigrants. Family and friends huddle around Molly Tippett's mother, Laura Calderwood. Oh, sorry, that's a picture caption. Copy and paste failed me today. During a Wednesday morning discussion about the case on Fox and Friends, a favorite of President Donald Trump... Oh, that's back to the other page. See what happens when we do this impromptu.
Yep, we are absolutely not ready.
Statistics don't lie. Numbers don't lie. Mom said Gibson got 5,308 votes in Clark County. That is 5.41% of the votes. On the statewide result, he got 38,676, 2.27%.
I mean, at least that's like a minuscule percent, but that's still way more than it should be.
Almost 40,000. That's still scary.
Percentage-wise, it seems less
4,000
scary
scares
than
me.
number-wise.
Right, absolutely. If you look at the percentages, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
That means there's 40,000 dumb shits in Washington State, at least.
At least.
How many of them didn't vote?
Probably most of them.
Probably a lot. So, America, while we're pointing fingers and placing blame and saying build a wall, the immigrants that have come into this country are the least of the worries. Very, 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 very small percentage. A wall isn't going to change crime. A wall isn't going to stop people from committing murders. Way more people are killed by natural-born citizens than immigrants. Way more crimes are committed by natural-born citizens than immigrants. So building a wall is not going to make our country safer. It's not going to make our country cleaner. And it's not going to make our cities stronger. What does make our cities stronger are people that are coming here willing to work. What does make our country stronger are people that are coming here wanting to become Americans because they know an American life is better than the life that they've had. What does make our country stronger are people coming together to support people and to help one another regardless of where they're from. That's all I have to say about that. Anthony, it's your turn.
I agree. Your turn, Paul. Just kidding. So, yeah, no, it's scary, just the state of our country. When people are blaming immigrants for issues that have been around longer than this whole immigrant debate has been going on, murder, rape, all those things, much bigger issues than just immigrants are doing it all, which clearly they're not.
How many Native Americans were killed when...
How about them smallpox blankets, though?
when the English settlers came here as immigrants?
I don't have numbers, but probably more than Mexicans have killed.
I'm willing to bet. Willing to bet.
I just don't understand how people can think that the issue is tied to immigration as opposed to people just being shitty humans.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Right. Well, and the statistic numbers with the juveniles.
Yeah.
Immigrant kids are less likely to be repeat offenders.
Yeah. Because the other thing that always baffles me about people's arguments about immigrants, they're leaving their countries to start a better life for their families. It's everybody else here who's making it worse. They're trying their hardest. They're working obscene hours. They're doing everything they can to make their way here. And that's really hard right now in the U.S. either way, even if you aren't an immigrant. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to be the best people they can be, and we're impeding that. They can't have the life they have from El Salvador, Mexico, Colombia, any of those countries with high crime rates, high drug rates, all those things. They're leaving those dangerous countries to be here in something that's theoretically less dangerous, but they're being turned away for being awful, for not being awful, for us being awful to them. It's terrible, honestly.
Mom brought up a good point. What is the indictment criminal charge rate percentage in the Trump administration versus that of the rate of crime for illegal immigrants?
Well,
she said laugh out loud, but
pretty
that's
close to 100% right now for them.
It's probably about 70%, realistically. The Trump administration.
Has anybody been fully released that's been?
Well, some of them haven't. Some of them
yet?
haven't committed crimes that we know of yet.
But has anybody investigated anybody who's gone to trial,
no.
not been indicted? So that's 100%.
Right. Criminal charge rate is 100%. And I'm sure it's going to remain at 100%, and there's probably going to be dozens more people to fall in line.
Speaking of which,
this Mueller investigation is only 2% through.
And we also have only a fraction of the knowledge that he knows.
Right. Right.
Trump he has to be shaking in his little booties.
Right. Well, and he's too busy claiming that his approval ratings get him so high, and his endorsement ratings are super high, even though...
Endorsed by Russia.
the billionaire in Wyoming just failed miserably with Trump's endorsement. But Wyoming. So that's all I've got to say about this, dude. I'm a little disgusted.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's clean 32 minutes. Unless we have more to talk about. Like, that.
At the moment, I don't.
I got everything off my chest.
I'm going to go in the bathroom and drop a Trump, and then maybe we'll think about something else, too. So,
All right.
for now, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching us talk some shit, rant and rave. Appreciate it. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We love you. FunkShop TV.
See you later.
Adios.
Bye.